I am a doctor, and it is our duty and responsibility to care for patients. But every patient is unique. As a young doctor in a small-town hospital, I quickly adapted to the staff and patients. We were 5 doctors, all under the direction of Mrs. Saunders. Frankly, it was hard to impress him. All the doctors feared her. No mistake escaped her. I wanted to prove myself, so I redoubled my efforts. So I took a lot of night shifts living alone away from my family. I didn't mind staying in the hospital. The patients called me Dr. Cooper. There were patients of all ages, but a little girl named Tiara. She was probably the youngest patient in the hospital at the time. She was there before I arrived. In short, Tiara was an adorable child. She often walked the corridors and talked to other patients. Most of the time she was always alone. One evening, it was 1/4 of the night. I went to do my usual rounds. I was walking in the long empty corridor when I heard 2 low voices. It was late. All the patients had to sleep at that time. I followed the sound that came from room 203. Opening the door, I saw Tiara standing near the patient's bed. She smiled mysteriously at me, not surprised by my arrival. She said confidently, "Hello, Dr. Cooper. Tiara, is this well after bedtime? What are you doing here?" "Nothing. I just came to say goodbye to George." George was the patient of room 203. He had recently undergone a major operation. Tiara seemed calm, but George looked frightened and pale. Thinking Tiara had shocked him, I said softly, "You can't wander around at night. Come on, we'll take you back to bed." Then I told George, "I'll send Nurse Martha for a quick check. She'll give you a sleeping pill to help you sleep. You need to rest now." I then escorted Tiara back to her service. She went to bed without saying a word. This brief encounter did not bother me until the next morning. I got home around 4 a.m. after finishing my night shift. It was my day off, so I slept all day. The next day at work, passing in front of 203, I wanted to see Georges, but another patient was sleeping in his bed. I saw a nurse in the corridor. "Excuse me, where's George? He was in this room. The patient in this room. He died yesterday, doctor." "You didn't know what? How?" "He was already suffering from cardiovascular disease and was not recovering. Surprisingly, he had a heart attack yesterday. Dr. O'Hara signed his death certificate. You can ask her. She can give you all the details." The nurse left and I was lost in the hallway. Suddenly something strange caught my attention. I remembered Tiara saying she had come to say goodbye to George when I asked her what she was doing in her cabin. But why goodbye? She should have said goodnight. No, I was going to Tiara's cabin. She was sitting on her bed coloring. Without waiting, I asked her, "Tiara, why did you go to say goodbye to George?" "You should have said goodnight, right?" Tiara's face changed color. She stammered, I said goodnight. You misheard." Suddenly, she looked behind me as if someone was watching us. I immediately turned around, but there was no one there. The cleaning staff arrived and began to wash the floor. Tiara went back to coloring. I went back to work, the confused mind. All day I couldn't concentrate on my work. This unusual thought bothered me. Why did Tiara say goodbye to George when she knew he was going to die soon? A week passed, and I almost forgot. One night I was doing my usual rounds. I was walking down the second-floor hallway when I saw Tiara come out of room 706 and slowly descend the stairs. Room 706 had recently admitted a patient with a serious head injury. I went in and saw that the woman was awake. "Who is this now?" "Oh, it's you, doctor. How are you feeling, Corey?" I'm a little dizzy. Doctor, someone came to see you before me. Yes, a little girl came. She said her name was Tiara. What was she doing here to you, and did she say something? Yes, she was an adorable child, but I think she was wrong. Wrong about what? I guess she wanted to say good night, but instead she said goodbye. Weird, isn't it? My heart skipped a beat. I put Corey back to bed and went back to my room. Deep down, I knew what was going to happen the next morning. Corey passed away. I have this strong belief that Tiara has a strange gift for predicting the death of patients, but I couldn't tell anyone about it because they wouldn't believe me. I couldn't do anything. She wasn't hurting anyone, just a little girl saying goodbye to a dying patient. After 2 similar incidents, I could no longer keep the secret. I directly asked Kathy, the receptionist, "How long has Tiara been here?" She replied to me that Tiara, the girl from the intensive care unit, "Don't you see how she sneaks into the rooms? I don't know why, but I feel something is wrong with this child." What do you mean, Dr. Cooper? We don't have any patients named Tiara. No children are even hospitalized here right now. You all right? What do you say? I've been talking to this girl for several days. Check the registry. She's in the Cooper Intensive Care Unit. Come to my office, please. I turned around and saw Mrs. Sanders behind me. I followed her, mind troubled. Once inside, she whispered, "Have you seen Tiara? How is she? Cooper, is she happy?" What? Tell me what's going on, Kathy says. There's no one by that name and you're telling me about this girl. What the hell is going on? Mrs. Sanders burst into tears, sobbing. After a while she looked at me and said, "Tiara is my daughter. I brought her to work last week. Her father had to come and get her. I worked while she played alone. The spider climbed the gutter into the stairs, his legs slipping. She fell from 3rd to 2nd. Admitted here in critical condition. She died. I couldn't believe my ears. The ground slipped under my feet. I felt my heart stop. Tiara died. Oh my God. I just froze in her cabin. Horrified, Mrs. Saunders said. I saw her prowling at night, but I doubted. Now I believe she is there. You must be the second to hear her there. You see, Mrs. Saunders did not wait and turned off the light. Tell me, Cooper, do you see her? I was terrified, but I scanned the room anyway. And then a voice whispered behind me, "Goodbye, Dr. Cooper. I'm Julia. I work as a nurse at the public hospital. Hospitals starkly show the reality of life and death. We rejoice when a patient is cured. We cry when he dies. Over time, nurses become tougher in the face of difficult situations. But at the time of this incident, I was new and had been there for a few months." In the emergency room, we saw everything. A naive teenager cut herself after a breakup. A man injured in an accident or a fight. These boxes were aware of us, but this case will forever remain etched in my memory. A boy named Arnold admitted for attempted suicide when his family brought him in. He was covered in blood. Arnold was in the park with his buddies when suddenly he got up and ran towards a tanker truck. Not surprisingly, the truck hit him hard. He was left with severe head trauma and multiple fractures. Her parents cried tears the whole time. A team of 3 doctors and 3 nurses, myself included, operated on him. Alas, due to massive hemorrhage and shock, Arnold fell into a vegetative state. The vegetative state is total unconsciousness, with eye opening and cycles, awakening, sleep. The boy was about 14 years old. The whole hospital was upset for this kid and his parents. I've been assigned to watch him. His body was permanently motionless on the bed. His eyes were always open and he stared at the ceiling. I only felt him alive when he closed his eyes to sleep after dinner. His random eye movements sometimes freaked me out. Imagine I'm sitting next to him after dinner, reading him a story. His eyes remained closed the whole time. I quickly realized that he had fallen asleep, so I turned off the lamp near his head. As I left, I remembered leaving my phone on the next table. I turned the lamp back on to look for him, and there I saw Arnold staring at me with wide eyes. In the middle of the night, this unexpected look really sent chills down my spine. This kind of thing happened often. Another mystery that haunted me. Why did Arnold try to kill himself? Gradually, I noticed changes in his motor skills. Doctors were thrilled to see such a quick recovery. They said Arnold could regain consciousness in a few months. His mother came to see him almost every other day. One day, while changing his medical record, 3 school children, Arnold's age, walked in with a man of average height. They wore glasses and formal attire. I thought maybe he was their teacher, and those boys were Arnold's friends. The boys spoke to Arnold and wished him a good recovery. The man sat down next to Arnold and took his hand. As soon as he did, I noticed a slight increase in Arnold's pulse. The man said in a gentle and kind voice, "Oh, Arnold, we miss you so much. Get well soon, we are waiting for you." My heart sank for his friends and his teacher. Within 10 minutes of their departure, Arnold's pulse began to accelerate rapidly. Within 5 seconds, his body started shaking like a rabid dog on the bed. He was having an epileptic seizure. Doctors rushed in with medication and managed the situation throughout the night. I stayed in his room watching him, eyes wide open. We had to suspend visits for a while. One more shock would have caused cardiac arrest. We had to be strict. After a week, his mother was finally allowed to visit him. She asked to stay overnight in her room despite hospital rules. But seeing this poor mother, we had to relax the rules. I decided to stay with him too. As usual, there was a small sofa in his room. Mrs. Palmer sat in it, and I sat in the chair next to it. Around 2:30 in the morning, I got up for coffee. Arnold's eyes were closed. Mrs. Palmer had also fallen asleep on the couch. I decided not to wake her. The coffee machine is at the end of the hallway. I walked quickly and pressed the button for the machine. The coffee was starting to flow when I heard a chilling scream. I ran and realized it was coming from room 4102, Arnold's. I grabbed the handle and turned it to open the door, but no matter how hard I tried, it wouldn't open. The scream from inside was Mrs. Palmer's. She was screaming in excruciating pain. "Mrs. Palmer, why did you lock the door? Open up, what's going on in there?" I called the doctors without delay. We called the maintenance staff who unlocked the door with a double as soon as it opened. We discovered a horrific scene. Arnold had broken the window of this 4th-floor room with his cast and was beating his mother violently. Mrs. Palmer was bleeding from her face and nose, but was holding him back, shouting, "No, I won't let you jump. No, Arnold, please." He was rampant, tossing her around like a doll, trying to reach the window to jump, uttering the worst obscenities ever heard from a teenager. The doctors rushed over and seized him. He was struggling, screaming at the top of his lungs. Another nurse took Mrs. Palmer to treat her injuries. For a moment, I froze like a statue, forgetting to act. Julia comes to help me with the injection. Dr. Stanley's voice brought me back to reality. Arnold, coming out of a coma and becoming violent, terrorized the hospital. Our mental health team was called in for these suicidal tendencies. Arnold had episodes of intense anger. We had to tie him up to keep him from hurting himself. His critical injuries prevented him from being transferred to a psychiatric ward. The police, along with the psychiatrist, questioned him about his suicidal thoughts. After a few sessions, he finally confided. Arnold accused his teacher, Mr. Conan, of mistreating him before his suicide attempt. I could hardly believe it was the same man who had visited her. Now I understand why his pulse quickened in his presence. Police eventually arrested Conan, but he maintained his innocence, saying that Arnold had incited him into the relationships. However, police found incriminating photos of Arnold taken by his teacher. Arnold testified that Mr. Conan blackmailed him, threatening to release the photos if he spoke up. Arnold also said that this man had abused another boy at his school. This boy, Matthew, also testified against Conan. We all celebrated the day Mr. Conan was imprisoned. A week later, Arnold left the unit, his parents filling out the paperwork while he waited in a wheelchair. I approached him and said, "You were very brave. Don't ever hurt yourself again for someone else, Arnold." He looked at me, downcast. I asked him again, "Hey, you finally go home with yours. You should smile, darling." He stared at me expressionlessly and said, "Thank you for everything." His father came to pick him up in the car. I was about to leave for the office when I got a notification on my phone. I saw a cell phone on the table next to it. I took it and read a strange message. "I did what you asked me to do the day I heard you blackmail Conan for grades and a scholarship. I knew you were his mistress. I was disgusted that I fell in love with a guy like you, but it's over now. You also blackmailed me with intimate photos of me that you took. I want them now before I understand." I heard a noise behind me. "Sorry, nurse." Julia Arnold forgot her phone. Then I get it back. Mrs. Palmer held out her hands to me, and my heart froze with fear. I gave her the phone back. She took it and started to leave. I walked slowly to the exit and saw Arnold typing on his cell phone in the back of the car. He looked at me one last time with a wide smile. I was a housekeeper at a local hospital. I used to see people arrive in critical condition, but one patient in particular marked me forever. His name was Billy. Admitted to the burn ward one night, his house caught fire while they slept. Before I knew it, half the house was already burning. Billy was rescued by his neighbors, but his wife Sandra died there. His body is said to have melted, reduced to ashes. Billy had severe burns, but his condition was treatable. His room was the only place that made my blood run cold. The smell of burning flesh was unbearable. And then his room was always freezing. Billy was sedated most of the time. The pain of burn victims is indescribable. One day I was assigned to the night shift. Frankly, I prefer to work at night so I could work quietly. Sleeping patients. It was about 1:30 in the morning. I was going to clean Billy's room. I saw a frightening figure sobbing. It was Billy, recognizable by his burns. He stared at a dark corner, muttering strangely, "Why? Why are you doing this to me? What more do you want? Please leave. Let me be okay, man." He turned, looking pained. He pointed to the dark corner and said, "Tell him to leave. She keeps coming back. She should be dead, right?" "What are you talking about, Sandra, my wife? She's coming back for me." He fainted. I was so shocked and scared that for a moment I forgot to warn the doctors and nurses. But when I did, they ran into his room. Everyone was amazed at how, despite his pain, Billy could get out of bed alone. Since then, every time I went to clean his room, I was scared to death. I knew there was a logical explanation, but in this dark room at night, I had my doubts. A few days passed, and Billy's condition worsened. He showed signs of trauma and fear in his behavior. Often I would hear screams from his room and see the staff running there. I changed my schedule just to avoid going to his room, but it seemed like life had other plans for me. He told me he'd double my salary if I did tonight's shift too. Who doesn't need money these days? So I agreed. I even asked for the next day, sure I could do it. I went home for a nap before returning to the night shift. So my head was clear enough to remember what I saw that night. As usual, I started cleaning. After 5 or 6 rooms, I decided to take a break. I went to the empty cafeteria for a drink. In front of the ATM, I heard footsteps in the distance. I saw Billy standing at the end of the hallway. His arms and legs were still covered in burns. Half of his face was disfigured. Hey and Billy, what's going on? It's okay. You should go back to your room, Billy. It disturbed me to see him like this, frozen, breathing strangely. Billy, you're scaring me, man. Why not? She won't let go of me until she kills me. Come on, Billy. Not yet. No, she's telling me right now she's right behind you and telling me to turn around. No one, but a chill runs through me. What Billy did next was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. He took out a scalpel and began to slice the flesh from her lips. Drops of blood stained the white floor beneath his feet, but he did not stop there. He began to chew his lips. The sounds of chewing made me nauseous. He screamed in pain as he chewed his flesh. Are you happy now? Huh? Are you angry because I survived? Well, I'll end it. I'll end it all with those words. Billy stabbed himself in the chest. It was carnage. Doctors and nurses rushed in. He was taken to intensive care immediately, but did not survive. I don't know why, but I think he saw his wife's ghost. Sometimes the dead with unfulfilled desires return to their loved ones, and in some steps, they haunt them too. What do you think happened to Billy that day?